cult of Hasan Abi. Anyway, but yeah, let's get to the World Economic Forum, baby. Let's see what the annual Davos World Economic Forum meeting in 2023 is cooking up. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, surrounded by the super rich, Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin agreed that they won't end the filibuster. Then they high five. Both have used their position to hurt the working people and the planet and make their rich friends richer.
The American people in the last 2 years.
And we still don't agree on getting rid of the filibuster.
That's correct.
Thank you. I was
like the anger, frustration, and hatred that people have towards the World Economic Forum is so valid. I love it. I hate these fucking Davos meetings and shit. But it's just like, but understand that it's larger than that, okay? The problem is like you are upholding the same exact fucking system. Like the notion that these are like conspiracy theories is a silly one because like it is a manifestation of the same things that you see in every aspect of your lives, okay? It's not like Jewish people or some shit though. It's just the mega wealthy. It is the wealthy. It is the powerful. It is the capital owners working at the behest of extending the capitalist organization of the economy globally over and over again every fucking year. When some of the world's wealthiest and most influential figures gathered at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting last year, sessions on climate change drew high-level discussions on topics such as carbon financing and sustainable food systems. I hate that like they only hyper focus on like the side of the World Economic Forum and the conversations that they have that surround like marketing for the liberals, okay? Because like whenever they talk about like carbon credits and stuff or climate change, they're not talking about it because they're going to genuinely undermine the interests of capital at the global scale. They're never going to do that. They're just doing that for marketing, okay? They're doing that for marketing so that liberals also think that, like, oh, the World Economic Forum, like, they got some good ideas, I think. It's hard to tell people that so many dumbass conspiracists out there see the WEF and tweak out, but straight up shill for Wall Street and the economy on the regular because they're so out of touch. They can't see the smoke in the mirrors. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand how you can be mad. I don't understand how you can be mad at the World Economic Forum and not realize that, like, these are the exact same systems that you're holding on to. When you're watching, like, fucking Sigma Grindset videos, like, those guys, every single one of these people is you know, they're pushing the same shit. They're all together on it. Bro, my mom / her husband watched Newsmax and I corrected him saying the phrase, what? Jewing someone down negotiating prices is fucked, and this motherfucker say it's an honor in their culture to be good at making deals. Jesus Christ, dude. That's insane. Like, no, they like it. No, they like it when we say that. When we associate an entire ethnicity of people or entire religion of people with, like, being frugal. They like that. Newsmax, baby. It's a compliment.
Is facing questions about his handling.
Oh, fuck. We were doing World Economic Forum shit. Hold on.
In Davos today. Now, this year's theme is cooperation in a fragmented world. World leaders and executives are meeting in Switzerland for the 5-day conference. They're expected to discuss a number of global issues, including green energy, cybersecurity, and recession fears. So joining me now from Davos to discuss is Simon Kennedy. He's the executive editor for economics at Bloomberg News. Thanks for joining us. So this is the first time the event is being held in person in the winter time in the last 3 years. It has been held in the summertime, but it's also, you know, it's an interesting time for the uber rich. Oxfam just came out with a study suggesting that concluding that they did really, really well over the last couple of years when the world was sort of buckling under a pandemic. What will they be, or first question actually, have you noticed anything different about Davos this year?
So the last time they met in the winter was 2020 on the brink of that global pandemic. And since then, obviously, events have changed the world, and I think that has repercussions for the forum's agenda. There are fewer political figures this year. The German Chancellor is here, but of the major political figures, he's kind of alone, along with the Vice Premier of China.
One of the funniest parts about these conversations is that they openly talk about how things are heating up to a degree where, like, you know, the poor people everywhere, all around the world, are going to probably come up and rise up eventually. So we got to do something about it. And they very openly talk about it too. Like, it's not even hidden. They openly talk about that shit. And all these dummies who are so hype on, like, Elon Musk and all these other fucking dumbass bourgeois pieces of shit, okay, that dick ride them all the goddamn time, can't differentiate between like the concept of like hating individuals like Klaus Schwab or whatever the fuck, and the entire system that they are genuinely and very openly talking about at events like this. The richest 1% of people amass almost 2/3 of new wealth created in the last 2 years, according to Oxfam. Who the fuck do you think they're talking about at Davos? Who's going to Davos? It's all the rich people, dumbasses. It's not like individual bad rich people versus like some good people. Some good rich people. It's all of them. And it's not even like rich people in general. It's capital owners, okay? The World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos begins tomorrow. On January, politicians, corporate leaders, and billionaires arriving by private jet and motorcade to tell us plebs how to save the planet while they design ways to asset strip the planet. What's a capital owner versus a rich person? A capital owner is one who doesn't have to like actually fucking work. Okay? They are the people who sit around and don't have to do anything. Their money is working for them. They don't have a skill, they don't have a discernible skill, they just have money. And their money is accumulating more money. They buy assets. They're not making their income through wage labor by working for someone else. These are the real parasites, the real mega wealthy on the planet. Yeah, LeBron versus the owner of the Lakers, even though, controversial figure, probably not the best person to mention here. And also, LeBron owns capital himself. But as a basketball player, LeBron James is a wage laborer, ultimately, okay? He's contracted. His skills are what make the team that he's playing generate money. But they take risk. Yeah, dude, you take risk too, dummy. Everyone takes risks. When you go and work for a place, you are taking risk. Two sides to that conversation. The greatest risk that a business owner has is losing their money and becoming a worker like you. Never forget that. Because when you lose your business or when you lose all the money, okay, you don't go to prison. They don't kill you. You just become a worker. That's the biggest fear that a capital owner has, is being relegated to the working class, going back to becoming a worker. That is the biggest risk that they're taking. So you as a worker literally look at that situation and go, oh, my lord, but they're taking risks, my lord. And now you might say JK, but plenty of people do genuinely think that. Okay, they do. They say, my lord is taking a risk, though. He deserves the profits of my labor. I myself am not taking a risk. Well, no, you are. Because when that business goes under, you lose your job too. And your starting position as a worker at that business is already literally the end point that those capital owners, your bosses, are afraid of becoming. That is their biggest fear. Their biggest fear isn't going to prison. Their biggest fear isn't like, their biggest fear isn't death or anything like that. It's losing all their assets so that they have to be relegated to the working class once again. So never forget that. But their risk is greater, isn't it? They invest the money. Bro, you are not listening to what I am saying. Okay? Them investing the money is a risk that they're taking. And what is the end point of that? What is the end? Like, what happens when you take that risk and you fail? Even though the entire system is designed to help those who already have capital, when they fail, to have bankruptcy and all these other ways of like maintaining their personal wealth. Think. When a business owner loses their business, they don't lose their life. They don't lose anything. They just become a worker. That is the biggest fear they have. The biggest fear that a wealthy business owner has is one day becoming a worker again. Because they know how other business owners treat their fucking workers. As a business owner, they know how they treat their workers. And they never want to go back to that ever again. My lord, the other serfs stole your grain, my lord. They are the bozo. Not me, my lord. I am a good peasant. Anyway, so remember that. And they very openly talk about it too, because they don't care, because a lot of dummies will look to the World Economic Forum and like not realize that this is just yet another iteration of class solidarity. It's yet another open demonstration of class solidarity amongst the capital owning class as they talk about what to do with your future. Because they know you're going to hyper focus on the fucking, climate change initiatives that they're advocating for. You feel me? They know you're going to focus on all the dumb shit and not the actual shit.
So no group of seven leader, no Joe Biden. So perhaps a sense that for politicians, they might want to steer clear of Davos. The other big absence will be no surprise. Russians and oligarchs and Russian leaders and officials once were big names on the list, and obviously Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the subsequent sanctioning of individuals has reduced the Russians to almost zero. So again, that would be a change from 3 years ago. So a little bit more skepticism, I would say, of the event, certainly from the political figures. At the same time, Wall Street and the big banking CEOs are all here. There's a lot of billionaires on the ground or on the guest list. So some sense that some things haven't changed.
Just last week, the World Bank warned of a possible global recession. I imagine that will be one of the topics that they'll be talking about. Give us a list of what's on the menu. What else will they be talking about?
So absolutely, the economic outlook is always a big issue here. The World Economic Forum revealing today that its own.
Sorry, I'm just confused. Hypothetically, so a business owner spends $1 million to start a business, they hire one worker, and the business instantly fails. The business owner out the money, I think, is more than what the worker is out. Okay, I understand your immediate desperation to try to find like one hypothetical scenario that you imagined up in your mind where it seems like you're right. Okay? It seems like you're right. When I talk about these sorts of things, first of all, when that guy loses $1 million, okay, it sucks. It sucks. But like, what happened to him? He's down $1 million. He hired one guy. Okay? First of all, in almost no circumstance, because we do live in a capitalist system, you're fronting $1 million fucking dollars to start a business, okay? But holy shit, that would be a really funny and cool way for businesses to operate. Can you imagine you like had to literally front it? There's no banks, there's nothing. You just have to like, genuinely put a out-of-pocket payment. Only stupid idiots like me do shit like that, okay? That's not how this works. But also, let's say he lost $1 million on his business. So what happened? Now he's a worker. Now he is down $1 million, and now he's a worker again. That's the worst thing that can happen to that business owner after he loses $1 million is he has to get back to fucking work and be a worker again. He's no longer a business owner. The business owner loses $1 million and is now at zero and has to find work. The one worker he hired is now out of a job, has no income, also has to find the work. Hence, they are now on equal footing. Yeah. The bank is taking the risk, not the person, and the bank is using your money, fractional reserve, baby. Yeah. And also, that $1 million is still in assets, which he's going to fucking sell and still have a shitload of money to go on another failed venture. No, but that's not how this works. You don't like have $1 million and you go, I'm putting $1 million into this business, and then it lights on fire and you lose everything. That's not how that works. And you get a fucking massive tax benefit from that too, because you have like an insane amount of taxes that you're never going to pay. Meanwhile, the worker is fucked. That's it.
Survey of chief economists tilts towards a recession forecast for this year. What happens with inflation? If you're a company CEO, you're going to be worrying both about recession, also pricing power, given inflation so strong. There's a backdrop of geopolitical issues, obviously Ukraine, complications over energy prices, arguments over trade and supply chains, and whether to rely on previous countries to like China to locate your plants in. So there's all these big issues that are kind of circling, and many of them are short-term issues, medium-term issues, and then the long-term issue, which has really become a Davos item in recent years, has been the threat of climate change and what that might mean for the world economy and for everyone here.
Yeah, I sort of chuckled in a mildly sort of sarcastic way because I saw kind of the huge banner that they had put up across one of the streets that said a warm welcome to Davos. And I thought to myself, I hope that means that they're going to be talking about climate change, because that's really important when it comes to the economy and other things. As you mentioned, a number of world leaders are not going to be there. President Biden is not going to be there, but it doesn't mean the U.S. isn't going to be represented at Davos. Who will be there representing the U.S. and what will their role be?
So continuing the climate change discussion, John Kerry, the president's climate envoy, will be there. Catherine Tai, the U.S. Trade Representative, will be there.
And fucking Marty Walsh, our Labor Secretary. Fucking Maddie. He's going to go up there and be like, these fucking losers. They don't want to fucking work, dude. We're trying over here. We're doing our fucking best, dude.
Marty Walsh, the Labor Secretary, will be there. And a selection of
Big L. Imagine putting a fucking Massachusetts guy in that position, dude. What a fucking L for the Biden administration. I mean, no wonder they're just dismantling labor rights right now.
Senators will also be present. So there will be some American voices shaping the discussions.
All right. Well, it sounds fascinating. Let's hope something interesting comes out of it. Simon Kennedy, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
But we begin.
Anyway, this isn't a conspiracy play that's playing out in the extreme fringes, Alex Friedfeld said. A researcher with the Anti-Defamation League who studies anti-government extremism. We're seeing it on the mainstream social media platforms being shared by regular Americans. We're seeing it being spread by mainstream figures right on their primetime news on their nightly networks. this is pretty funny because, like, there is truth to a lot of what they are talking about. What a lot of these people are, like, the energy is right. Being angry at rich people is perfectly valid, okay? Being angry at these people who are, like, talking about what the next step should be for all the plebs and the peasants as they are, as the wealthy are fearful that they're grabbing their fucking pitchforks, you know what I mean? But the issue is, there is, all the fucking dumbasses are talking about it from the perspective of, like, you know, dumb shit. Like, oh, man, they're going to do climate change initiatives and they're going to stop me from eating burgers, okay? Meanwhile, like, they're not doing anything that's going to hurt the bottom line of the agriculture business, okay? Just don't, they're not coming for your fucking, okay, guys, that was a joke. Can you please, the Massachusetts thing was a joke. Can you shut the fuck up? Sam Cedars from Massachusetts and a huge labor rights advocate. Shut up. I'm joking. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, still defending Massachusetts' honor. Holy fuck, you fucking masshole. Shut up. Sam Cedar! No, it is the rich that make this right-wing conspiracy go mainstream, so the real leftist criticism is not shown in the media. Yeah, I mean, this is such a cool way to just, like, avoid talking about the real problem with wealthy people having all this access, having all this power. Because then, hey, it's all a conspiracy. It's all fucking random weirdos saying, like, oh, it's the Jews controlling the world, right? Or it's like just a couple bad liberal billionaires that are doing that. A right-winger made this the real issues, brother. Yeah, exactly. That way, you can quickly just get a bunch of liberals to immediately go, oh, that's crazy. This is madness. This is craziness. This isn't a conspiracy that's playing out on the extreme fringes. The meeting draws heads of state, business executives, cultural trendsetters, and representatives from international organizations to the huge Lux mountain town. Though it's always unclear how much concrete action will emerge, the meeting is slated to take on pressing global issues from climate change and economic uncertainty to geopolitical instability and public health. The Great Reset. Hundreds of public sessions are planned, but the 4-day conference is also known for secretive backroom meetings and deal-making by business leaders. This gap between what is shown to the public and what happens behind closed doors helps makes the meeting a flashpoint for misinformation. Theories about influential global leaders are not new, she said, but the scrutiny of the forum and its chairman, Klaus Schwab, intensified in 2020 in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. That year, the theme of the annual meeting was the Great Reset. The initiative envisioned sweeping changes of how societies and economies would work to recover from the pandemic and build a more sustainable future. Now, in increasingly mainstream corners of the internet and on conservative talk shows, the Great Reset has become shorthand for what skeptics say is a reorganization of society using global uncertainty as a guise to take away rights. Believers argue, like, you have no rights, idiot. You don't have any rights. You have no future prospect. You have no rights. They already took it away. You don't have anything. You don't have a future. You don't have any control over your life. You have no autonomy. You are alienated. You are isolated. You're living in it now. They're just basically talking on autopilot on how to sustain that, how to keep that going. That's the problem. That's the problem that they're doing in front of you. But you're so fucking stupid that you think it's like, oh man, they're going to vaccinate us. And that's the wrong thing. No, you're cattle. We vaccinate our cattle so we can consume them. Just like we vaccinate our labor force so you can be healthy and fucking go back to work. But it's not the vaccination that's the problem in that circumstance, okay? It's how you are being used as a laborer. Stupid. But of course, all these dumb idiots, they recognize that, like, man, this shit's fucked up. And I think rich people are kind of at fault here. But then they turn around and go, oh, it's the vaccines that they give us that's the issue. Okay? it's so weird that you have a group of billionaires, millionaires, like all these fucking leaders, all these people that get together and like unironically talk about like, man, the poor are sure slated to rise up. We should do something about it, right? Like, what can we do about it? They have that meeting once a year, and all of these people, instead of going, wait a minute, this is kind of fucked up. That's so odd that like all these global leaders and wealthy people get together and talk about how our future should work. I find that to be rather strange. What's going on there? They hyper focus on all the dumbest parts of this. Perhaps only like parts that they use for marketing that is not even going to actually lead to any tangible results, like sustainable energy initiatives and shit. You know what I mean? In a time of mounting anxiety, Jamieson says the public has become more susceptible to falsehoods as conspiracy theories emerge as a tool to cut through the chaos. Researchers who monitor extremism say these beliefs are becoming more popular and more concerning. I got to do something real quick. I got to send Julian's contact to Ethan. I'm connecting Julian Solomita with Ethan Klein. Okay. My mom worked for a company for 9 years when her mental health and the shit, they turned on her so quick. No, not Julian from Q Anonymous. Julian Solomita. Speaking of the rich and their wealthy, this guy explains it in an interesting way.
You can't just take rich people's money. Why not? They took it from us. How else do you think somebody gets a single billion, let alone hundreds of billions? You could get paid $1 million a day and still have to work 1,000 days at $1 million to get just 1 billion. People are out here with hundreds of billions. Well, it's stock appreciation. That's how they got it. Okay, how does a stock appreciate? It's valuable. Where does value come from? From people doing work. Oh, your company is going to make all the cars electric, going to take us to Mars, going to cure cancer, going to do whatever. Who's going to do that? Workers are going to do that. Without them doing it, your company is valueless. People producing the value do not get the wealth. It all goes to one guy who takes the value from everybody working for him and now has hundreds of billions of dollars. So, take it back. Unionize their companies. Set up all possible paths of compensation to benefit workers. That's what they did to create billionaires in the first place.
That's literally, I mean, he's doing a very good job of breaking down how labor generates value under capitalism. He's doing a very good job without saying like those terms. I agree. This man with a mullet is spitting, okay? And the unfortunate problem though is that like people don't understand. How's he better than you at this and you do this all day? I think I would go so far as to say that I'm pretty decent at explaining this process, as the only reason why you most likely are in here and have been a fucking subscriber for at least 2 years is because you at some point understood that. It ticked in your head when I described it under similar terms. Now, old heads love to shit on you, I know. Is the news going to be depressing today? I don't know if I can take it. No. Ultimately, he's doing a good job. But a lot of people don't take away the genuine lessons that are supposed to be instilled here. Like, most people don't understand. It's not like being anti-capitalist is not about just like being like, oh, I fucking hate rich people. I think the animosity towards rich people is valid, adequate, understandable, a good starting point for agitated propaganda. But this isn't like, oh yeah, we're coming for your fucking toothbrush. Bullshit. That's Red Scare propaganda. And because people's minds have been so warped by Red Scare propaganda that even leftists who think that they are on the right path turn around and literally just say, become the meme that the right has presented them as. Okay?
Place, just reverse it. If that sounds crazy, it's not any crazier than what we have now, which is a single person with 200 who could lose $200 billion and still be the second richest person on earth at the same time that 2/3 of the country is living paycheck to paycheck. That's crazy. Pick any metric. The system that we have right now is a joke, and it's only working for the people who set it up to work that way.
Here's Graeber, RIP.
It always seems to me that capitalism is being held together more by moral arguments than anything else at this point, because most of the old practical arguments don't really apply. You know, for the last 50 years, you just said, well, you know, capitalism creates great inequality, but at least, you know, it lifts all boats, and even poor people know their children will be doing better off in the next generation, and nobody believes that anymore. That's obviously not true. The other argument was it creates a big, strong middle class, and that leads to political stability, and that's clearly not the case. The other one was technological. You know, well, we're all going to be on Jupiter in a few years. There's going to be endless inventions. Capitalism is a huge engine for creativity, and you know, instead we just get like iPhone 7, iPhone 8. You know, all the sci-fi stuff just. It used to happen,
marginal
but
improvements.
capitalism seemed to stop producing that stuff all of a sudden. So none of those things are true. So in a large way, I think the only two arguments left are, well, anything else would be worse. You know, it's us or North Korea, basically. And the other argument is, well, it's basically moral. It's just like people really do believe that if you don't pay your debts, you're a bad person. I mean, unless you're rich, in which case it doesn't matter somehow. But you know, if you're Donald Trump and you go bankrupt, they elect you president. But you know, if you're an ordinary person, you're a deadbeat and a bad person. And so that one really works. People feel that, you know, you really have to pay your debts. It doesn't matter if you've been maneuvered into it, which is a really, really convenient thing for the guys who are running a financialized system. It always seems to me that capitalism is being held together more by moral arguments than anything else at this point, because most of the old practical arguments don't really apply. You know, for the last 50 years, you just said, well, you know, capitalism creates great inequality, but at least, you know, it lifts all.
Felix is here. And we're going to continue our broadcast with the co-pilot, Felix. Well, these fuckers arrive with 1,000 private jets to talk about climate change in Davos. Yeah, that one is like immediate hypocrisy, right? Immediate hypocrisy. So, like, it's easy to understand where you're like, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean climate change, motherfucker? What's your carbon footprint look like? Especially because, like, it is still hyper individualized, okay? The silliness of it is that it's still hyper individualized, but like, even when you look at it from an individual perspective, these guys who are telling you that you're not supposed to be fucking using, you know, plastic straws are literally, even personally, in all of the properties that they own and operate, in their individual consumption, their carbon footprint is insane. That is before you start considering that, like, they also own major businesses that are, you know, vast, all-encompassing, also fucking destroying the environment as a part of their mode of production. Then you have to realize that, like, all the silly things that they advocate for are just a distraction. What's up, Felix?
We're in the same fucking thing.
What?
Yeah, no.
It's okay. No. It happens, you know? It's not a...
Well, it's not like totally identical.
Yeah.
It's
all right. Close up to you.
Okay. It's close enough.
Hold on. I'm going to also do some tweaking here a little bit. We'll put the noise gate up. I think you'll be fine. Or speak into it a little bit.
Okay. Hello. 1, 2. Testing.
Okay. That should be fine. As long as you, like, speak directly into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I mean, this is my go-to. This is my non-travel mic. This is the top of the line.
Yeah, SM7B, baby.
Yeah, no.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I did Olympic lifts for the first time in 9 months today.
Oh, did you? Oh, good. You didn't get injured? Nothing?
No, it was my first time like since I fucked up my back when I got too excited doing snatches, and I didn't get too ambitious. I don't know. I think in a month I'll be back to 2 plates for clean and jerk.
I don't do any Olympic lifts. I only do compounds, but I never do Olympic lifts.
I did Olympic lifts in the first place because like I found everything else too boring. Like I tried doing like a bodybuilding type workout when I first started like 12 years ago, and it was just so fucking boring. I couldn't get through it. And Olympic lifts are like I almost I had to bail on one today. I tried 205 after like not doing them in almost a year, and I bailed, and it was like for a split second I could have dropped the bar on my head and like paralyzed myself, and that's what's fun about them.
Oh yeah, the imminent danger of dying, the imminent danger of death. Okay, that's valid. We were just talking about Davos, World Economic Forum. Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are there.
Yeah, they got a standing ovation for saying that they're not going to end the judicial filibuster or the filibuster in general.
Yeah, it's great.
Davos sucks. Davos sucks. It's always like been evil and bad, and like they usually like it's evil and bad for like direct reasons they tell you, right? Like every year it's just like a new rebranded austerity. It's like we want people to retire later. We want to privatize more pension funds. But now that the average person knows what it is, people make like all these photoshops where it's like, oh, you won't believe what they said at Davos, and it will be like Klaus Schwab being, it'll be a picture of him in a fake headline that's like, actually, everyone should be a pedophile.
Yeah,
it's they're already saying evil shit. You don't have to.
Dude, that is
like,
exactly.
Dude,
that is literally what I've been talking about for the past hour, which is like, it's so fucking annoying that they're like, or they even talk about like some of the actual things that they do say about climate change, but like they don't realize that that's just marketing for liberals. That's just like normalizing the existence of the World Economic Forum for a bunch of like, professional managerial class people to be like, yeah, we care about climate change. Like, no one is going to force everyone to eat bugs, okay? When the agricultural industry is so powerful and such a major contributor to anthropogenic climate change, they're not actually going to fucking turn around and like stop you from eating cows, okay? Don't fucking worry, dumbasses.
Yeah, I've seen BP do these same ads for like 15 years now about how they're going carbon neutral and how they have like a new green way of doing things. It's like taking that at face value. And the entire reason there is a Davos and can be a Davos, and like the entire reason why a guy like Klaus Schwab can exist, just being a podcaster solely for Fortune 500 CEOs and prime ministers, is like agribusiness. It is like the beef slurry that people will continue to eat until it's no longer possible.
Yeah, I don't know. It is very, very frustrating to see that though. And now like CBS, AP, they're all like covering the World Economic Forum, but they're talking about it from like the perspective of course, conspiracy theories gaining traction online. And it's like they're these right-wing fucking idiots, or just like most normies, I think, have reasonable and understandable animosity towards the wealthy. They recognize that something is fucked up, but they have no way of like communicating or no way of like genuinely comprehending what's fucked up about it. So they just like hyper focus on like weird marketing points that they talk about with respect to like eating bugs as a substitute for protein, or made up shit like everyone at gunpoint has to be a pedophile.
Yeah. No, they take like, you remember when Bill Gates like drank that poop water? When he like, they were like, oh, we took a bunch of like water from a sewage treatment plant, we refined it, so now I can drink it. Like that, the Davos set or the Fortune 500 or the NWO or the NATO Satanic Alliance, whatever you want to call it, whatever your alignment is and whatever you want to call that, they love the like big flashy headline grabbing things like that no one is actually going to do because it makes them look busy. It's a macro version of when like blue municipalities ban vape flavors. It's looking busy.
Yeah. No, it's looking busy and also like appealing, I think, to the sensibilities of people that are not directly in control, right? They're not like capital owners themselves. They're not business owners themselves, but they're like, they're watching Sigma Grindset podcasters, and they're like thinking like one day I'll become, one day I will also be a boss.
Yeah. It's people who like,
or like liberals in general that are in positions of like some power, like managerial roles and whatnot, that go, oh well, yeah, they're looking out for our future, like they're doing the right things, I think.
right, yeah, just it's all reassurance. It's for like people who like, even if they don't necessarily have
Welcome to Goshen Prepping.
equity in in